Okay, guys, we are live! So for those listening at home, welcome to the Dungeon Musings YouTube channel. My name is Kevin Madison, and I'll be your friendly editor-in-chief today, because today we are carrying on with our ongoing campaign, playing Pinnacle Entertainment's outstanding Savage Worlds Adventure Edition, making use of their terrific Superpowers Companion. And with me today are the stalwart members of Canada's preeminent super team. I'll go the order I've got you guys on the screen here. Why don't you tell us who you are and who you're playing today? First up, we've got Robert.
Hi, I'm Robert. I'm playing Bouclier, who I still need to come up with a real name for. I'm just going to assume that he doesn't care anymore. He just calls himself Bouclier. He's like that past guy. He was nothing. And he's basically a guy who gets bigger when he gets hurt.
Nice.
He's trying to figure out how to keep smaller people from like bending his toe back to grapple him, but he hasn't quite figured that out yet. When he's the size of a whale. So.
Next up is Will.
Hi, I'm Will. I'll be playing Cygnus, the Dark Star of the North. He's a Iron Man type, manipulates gravity and dark matter.
Very nice. And last but certainly not least is Jeffrey.
Hey everybody, I'm Jeff, and I'm going to be playing Mind Warp. He is a mutant who manipulates time and space to move very quickly.
Very nice. Now, guys, this is issue 3 of our brand new series. What has happened in our previous 2? In our Gym Shooter one-page recap, what would we be saying?
Last time,
let me sit you up.
We had fought these frost giants. So where we started off with fighting, I think it was like 3 frost giants and a couple of their pet beasts of some nature.
Yeah.
We defeated them fairly well, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
And then before we could really do much of anything else, while we were kind of investigating the scene and trying to figure out where the snowstorm was from, a, what'd you say, 15th, 16th century?
17th century.
17th century. A 17th century galleon comes flying out of the museum. And so, which, you know, that happens.
Yep.
You know, you're going to have that. And so we went to check that out, and there was a some sort of witch type person running the ship, and then I can't remember exactly what the other bad guys looked like were.
Well, there was the one that latched onto you because
yeah.
But yeah, there was the dark mirror of Jeff's character. Sorry, forgot the name. I don't.
Mind Warp.
Mind Warp. That's it. Yep. Yeah. And oh yeah, just look at the bottom, find out. And this is Cygnus's fault. Yep. The wind. The Bearman. He was. Oh no. The Bearman. Yeah, he was kind of the big stompy guy that discovered there was another big stompy guy around.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And as I recall, Will basically, or Cygnus did what we all kind of expected to happen to the ship from the beginning. What we saw it was, you know, in Kevin's game, ships tend to get destroyed pretty quickly. And so Cygnus decided enough was enough, and he basically shot straight through it and destroyed it. And I think you found a compass, right, Will?
Yeah, so I think, if I remember properly, I destroyed the ship. Mm-hmm. Just shot right through it, and as it fell apart, there was a golden device that you could see that fell out. And so I went and got it, and it was like a sextant or compass or something.
Yeah. And do you remember anything else about it?
It had runic markings on it.
It did, yeah. Unusually, for a 17th century device, it seemed to have runic markings from a much earlier age.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I believe with that is where we ended our session, which means we are opening up our first page splash panel will be the shot of the Manitoba Museum with our heroes. The sun is not out necessarily yet, but the snow has stopped falling, and that vortex that was in the sky above is beginning to dissipate. So snow is still accumulating on the ground. There still is destroyed vehicles and stuff like that. But all of the things that you face, the frost giants, those the Wendigo from before, the big blue furry things, the good boys, likewise have vanished. So, what do you guys do next?
Do we need to clean up any debris?
I think that it would be appreciated by the folks here if you want to get into that. Now that the snow has, or the what do you call it? The immediate threat seems to have passed, and that wall has gone down. You can see there are EMS. There'll be Winnipeg Police Service coming down, as well as ambulances to see whether there is anything. Mind Warp, you're a little banged up as well. Does anyone have medicine or heal? I can't remember what it's called.
No, I think last time we assumed that he would be able to get healed by emergency services.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, but Bouclier is of course doing the Bouclier thing and shouting out just in general to anybody who hears. It's like, send any videos or pictures to Bouclier.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's demanding. Yeah. What about Cygnus and Mind Warp? What are you guys doing?
Yeah.
I think the main thing I'm doing is trying to, clean up any kind of bad debris, make sure there's no fires, no down power lines, that kind of thing.
Okay. And Mind Warp?
Mind Warp wants to try and stunt his powers to, reverse time on the non-such to repair it.
Wow.
Pull it back. I don't know if I can, but he's going to try.
Yeah.
It's just such a treasure of Manitoba, and he's from Manitoba. He probably went and saw it when he was a kid, and so, its destruction is really sad to him, so he's going to try to,
Nice.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that's even possible, but...
No, I think that's definitely, and as a fellow son of Manitoba, I sympathize with that.
Yeah.
Let's see here. I think that'll be... Where is it here?
As I always describe to people who are trying whiskeys from Isla, that the room that boat is in is what those whiskeys taste like.
Oh, yeah, and it's a distinct...
it's like old wood and rope and hemp and tar and the sea.
I don't know if it remained the case, but it's the thing that every kid who grew up in Winnipeg would have gone to see, and probably in Manitoba as well.
Yeah.
It's been in there since the 80s, so. Okay, so I think what this will be, it'll cost you a Benny for
it costs
sure.
a Benny to try and do the stunt, right?
Yeah, it costs a Benny to try and do the stunt. And do you have the focus skill?
I don't think. What the heck happened to my character sheet? Yeah, because I remember this was do I? I know I was going to take it. I do have focus.
Oh, do you? Okay, what's your focus?
D8.
Oh, okay, good.
Actually.
Yeah. Okay, then let's see.
Because I knew I wanted. I guess I remember that's how you stunned.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, also I think there are some of your powers that require you to use. You use that for attacking with your slow. I think as well. So here's what I'm gonna do. This is. I think it'll be a focus check at a minus. I think it'll be at -4. But do you have conviction?
I think I do actually. I haven't used mine, or did I?
Let's take a look.
I think I wrote it down.
Yeah, it would show up in our rolls.
Where's my notes?
You did use conviction last time.
Oh, I did. Yeah, I was gonna say I did use it.
I think you guys may all have.
I write it on my back of my character sheet. If you click on it, there's a notes part.
Oh, got it. Okay.
And then I write it in there. So I used it.
I think you guys all had and used your conviction already. It looks like.
Yeah.
Okay, so then mind warp. Oh, now how the thing is, before you attempt this, you are currently injured. You want to get because the reason that matters because it'll give you -1 to your rolls.
Oh, right. Yeah, I guess I could try and seek medical attention first.
Okay. So then, why don't
just to see how bad the wounds are, right? Of course.
Yeah, I mean, they it may just be a matter of like, a cold compress or something. So let's see. I think they'll have a D6 in it, but we'll have more than one work on you. Why don't you give us a 2D6 roll, Jeffrey?
And they don't explode when they're normal people, right?
They do explode when they're normal, yeah.
Oh, so I do put exclamation mark?
Yes, yeah. And your success, okay.
Oh,
so they'll be able to patch up that one wound.
Nice.
All right, so you got that, and then you see, Cygnus is zipping around overhead. Bouclier is talking to the slowly returning crowd. Mind warp. Do you want to give us a focus check, please? -4.
Here we go. Is this to see if it works, or
this is to see if it works? Yeah, I think this is going to be like you're going to be able to access a power like that, but this is going to be something quite tricky to reassemble the whole thing.
Oh,
you want to Benny that?
Yep. Try one more time. His honor.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Okay, so what does it look like? I think there's a stumble at first. What does it look like as you bring this 17th century ship back together?
He goes to do it, and he's like, he's just trying to like piece it together, like you know, using the broken pieces, and it's like the most impossible puzzle you ever tried to do, and so he sort of starts to get a headache immediately, and then he realizes that's wrong. So what he does is he like kind of goes back to his memory of the boat, and he just sort of envisions what it looked like in the museum, and he concentrates on that, and then he sort of focuses that power on all the pieces, and they start assembling themselves back into the boat, you know, sort of.
Yeah. And so what you then see is this enormous ship or sailing ship that has reassembled itself on Main Street in Winnipeg.
Yeah.
So
I'm like, I don't know how to get it back in the building. But...
yeah, you're sitting there and scratching your head.
It's not my problem.
They'll just build a new building around.
Yeah, there is and you can hear like the EMS and the police officers and stuff, like everyone who's there, they all sort of break out in applause for what you've done too. And where is that the compass that you had found?
Yeah.
Cygnus? Is that with you, or is that?
I think that Cygnus had it, right?
Yeah, Cygnus had it last I saw. I just wasn't sure what he did with it.
I had it last session, so I still have it.
Still have it, okay. So then, you guys are free to, now that this is together, we can assume you're helping put things away. Game mechanic wise, if you want to engage in any, like networking or otherwise try and, figure out what's going on here, you're welcome to do so.
Right. Yeah.
What are you guys planning on doing next? This is the point where everything has been secured, Cygnus, and the EMS can take over, and Bouclier, you realize that no one seemed to have filmed that because everyone had fled. But once again, no footage of you.
Man, he was thinking about he was planning on eventually creating like a Patreon, maybe even an OnlyFans, but so far that doesn't look to be very what do you call it? Very lucrative. So disappointed, he goes around and says, "Whoa, the ship's back." He missed the whole thing. He's like.
I think we need to go back to the sanctum.
To Ravenscrag.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, well, what about, and Bouclier stops for a moment and says, should we actually look inside the museum where the ship was originally...
there might be some evidence of what...
Yeah. Yep.
It's not a bad idea.
In a rare moment of clarity.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. So then, let's do this. What we'll go into a bit of a investigatory montage here. Mm-hmm. What do you guys think each of your characters would be doing?
Well,
there are museum staff that'll be in there. There will be, police officials that will be around to speak to, and there will be the actual site itself to investigate.
Yeah. Bouclier would attempt to basically do the Columbo thing where he looks at things and instantly figures something out, and it doesn't really work for him. But
okay.
unless you think there's something obvious you might see.
Okay.
He's
So, I mean, that's great color stuff. But as far as the mechanics are concerned, is there anything that you guys wish to do? Remember, networking generally makes use of persuasion or intimidation, but you can pitch other skills.
Yep. Let me take a look at and see what I use there.
So, in the world that or the universe that Mind Warp comes from, he has several contacts, like university contacts that he would, friends at the university, whatnot. So he doesn't know if he doesn't say this to these guys, of course, this is what he's thinking. He doesn't know if the people are in the same jobs or same lives as, but, he's going to try and contact someone he knows from the university who's like, probably a history person or like someone he would try to think of. Maybe he'd even look through the on his device, at the professors at the university, looking for someone that he knows that he could call, who would have more expert knowledge on this stuff, because he just feels like, he's physics and this is way different than his what he knows. So
here's what I'm going to suggest, is that the bit of information you would get, so for your first sort of networking, pass in this montage, is going to be to try and find, because I don't know if there's a great deal of, there might be social interaction between the two, but in the professional capacity, I think there's a pretty hard line between physical sciences and social sciences. So it would be unlikely that you would be meeting a historian at a conference, but what you might know is someone in the hard sciences here who could introduce you to somebody in the history department.
Right, exactly. I'm sure friendships develop across, different ranges based on hobbies and whatnot.
Yeah, it just may require you to do a two-step process to first find someone in University of Manitoba, and then find someone have him find or them find someone.
Right. So I would probably be thinking of who's a social butterfly, who's someone who, Well,
let's see if you know anyone at all first, and then you can figure out the challenges. So why don't you give us what do you think, a science check?
Yeah, right. Who do I know?
Yeah.
And like I said, because it's not his universe, he's actually looking through the roster of professors to be is this person actually still here?
It's a success with a raise. So you know someone in here. Let's see. We'll give them a name here.
Yeah.
How about Professor Christina Hodge?
Okay.
And what discipline do you think she's in as far as the hard sciences are concerned? You are a physicist, right? You're not an engineer, so it would be maybe in physics or chemistry or,
Well, maybe part of the reason I chose her is she's a mathematician. Okay. And so she's normally doing math work for the hard science people, but she's met some of the, other sciences, because it's every once in a while
so
they need math.
Let me tell you how I'm going to be ruling this, is that the next stage of your networking role is going to be, you've got someone who you've identified here. So you're going to be able to go and follow up at the University of Manitoba. The outcome of your next role will determine whether or not she's able to introduce you to someone.
Right.
Or whether you want to
I understand that.
Yeah. Okay.
No, but I'm just suggesting that she might. There's a reason I picked her, is that there's a chance. Not that she does, but just that I think there's a chance.
Okay. So what about Cygnus and Bouclier? What are you guys thinking for this first?
Well, I think Bouclier's first pass is pretty much what he said, which I think would involve a notice check. But he's going to where the ship had been moored or displayed, and just.
The thing is that it's not.
Yeah.
Like I said, unlike other games, notice isn't your sort of all-purpose getting information skill, and the reason being is because and I think the reason they do this is because context is the key thing here.
Okay.
You know, unless there's something that's really unusual, notice is not going to be your general all-purpose get information skill.
Yeah. Okay.
But what you could do is, you could make a notice check. I'm just going to give a penalty. Let's give it a -2, and we'll see if there's anything that you come up with.
Okay. Notice check -2.
Yeah. Let's see how you do.
Okay. Probably not very good, but then again.
No. There you go. Oh, you know what? You need to turn your conviction off too.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that.
That's okay. I mean, it wouldn't have affected your roll. You rolled really, really well, though. Okay. So here's the thing you notice, Bouclier, is as you're looking through here, there's a lot of damage inside this thing. And the way that to give you a sense of what this room looks like, I should have got a picture of it. The inside of the non-such room is designed to look like and sound like, with the speakers and whatnot, like it's a 17th century wharf. Complete with shipside people or shipside, fake building fronts, and there are like stuffed, dummies and whatnot in there to give you the look of as if people are in these shops and whatnot. There's rigging, there's a dock that you walk up normally to get to there, and there's a fake, what do you call it? Like a fake wharf that's sort of set up, painted on the ground as well. That all has been broken as if this thing has been knocked back. So there's a lot that is damaged here that is just someone using some kind of power to smash out a wall and then fly the ship away. So the gangplank is fallen down on the ground. But there also is something that is smashed in. One of the things, like any other museum, there are also some display cases that have artifacts in them. And one of them is busted. And what you can see, like whatever is in there is not just damaged, it's gone. The glass was broken inward, because you rolled 2 raises on this, so I'm going to give you lots of information. It's broken inward, and what you can see is it looks as if stuff was broken in and then something was pulled out of there, because there is a fairly large area where there is no glass whatsoever. What the sign says is this is the log maintained by Captain Zachariah Gillum, the captain of the Nonsuch, who brought the Nonsuch into Hudson's Bay.
Okay.
Or what would become Hudson's Bay, I guess, or named.
Okay.
So that's curious. No sign of it whatsoever. Someone seems to have made off with Captain Gillum's log.
Okay. And he'll go back, whatever he sees the other guys, he'll pass on that information.
Okay. Cygnus, what are you thinking?
I want to go to the security room, because I know they've got some sort of security system. Yeah. And I want to replay the video.
Okay.
Because there's got to be cameras in there. I want to replay that stuff.
I think that'll be electronics probably, because you got your interface. You got that ability to interface, and doesn't that? I think that grants +2 to electronics rolls. Your interface power. I'm not confused. Hold on, I'm not confused. You have interface, don't you?
I don't have an interface type power. Now I could do like a power stunt.
Yeah.
Because that's what I was looking through the book to see if they had something for like, something that would detect like X-rays and things like that. I didn't really find anything specific. I was like, well, let's just go. Maybe I could use something to.
So what interface would do is basically it's you jacking into or otherwise accessing things. So, but you've also got super science. So remember, you could spend your Benny, and you would have this. This is a non-combat thing for 5 rounds.
Right.
Ooh.
Do I need to roll for
Nope.
super science or anything?
Nope.
I didn't think so. It's just a stunt. It's just different rules for the stunt.
Yeah, basically, like super science and super sorcery basically function like of really optimized versions of power stunts. It's to cover characters like Doctor Strange, Doctor Fate, or or Forge, who are able to kind of cobble shit together on the fly.
Yeah.
So in this case, first off, give us a cool description of what it looks like as your armor reworks to be able to interface with this thing.
Yeah, so I've thought about his armor and everything. It's very much nanotechnology based. That's one of his master's degrees is in nanotechnology. And so he just kind of lays his hand just on a machine, and you see these little tendrils come out and go inside the openings.
Okay.
And then you see on his, from his first person view, you see the display of everything that he's accessing.
All the info going by, okay?
Yeah.
So why don't you give us an electronics check, and you'll get a +2. Remember, just hit the 2, not the plus.
Right.
Otherwise, Thanos arrives.
Not 22. 2.
Nice.
Beauty.
All right. So what you're able to access is, I think. As you're accessing it, you're seeing Bouclier first, on the current camera, kind of moving around and looking at stuff, and he's standing in front of this display, and then you immediately kind of, it rewinds back. It probably doesn't make the rewinding VHS sound, but in my mind, it automatically does. So what?
Although I wouldn't be surprised if this room still had VHS.
This is true too. Yeah. Because the Manitoba Museum used to be called the Museum of Man and Nature before it was renamed. But what you find is you are able to go back to earlier in the day where there are tour groups going through there, and you see all of them kind of panic as a storm seems to suddenly form, like an interior snowstorm shows up, and then you see the three minions, or not minions, but the three villains that you had witnessed before outside, and those are, let me find my...
The bear, the wind, and...
Yeah, it would be this big fella.
The witch.
This. And her. Unsurprisingly, perhaps, she seems to be the one who is leading their trio. Curiously, what you do not see there is Singularitas.
Yeah.
So these come in with her. She seems to retrieve the. It's as Bouclier suspected. You can see that she retrieves that, and she then also retrieves something else from another case, which is the compass. Brings those, and with her minions, they go into the non-such. You can see that they go below deck, and that is where things, kind of get up and go. She seems to be the one who has grabbed the journal, and she spends a moment or two flipping through it as if she was trying to confirm something, and then closes it and places it inside her robe, but in the kind of like magician way where there's no way there was enough space to fit that full thing in there, and yet her hand goes in, hand comes out, journal disappears. So, and then you can see she goes and stands on deck. The big bear guy smashes some stuff that was tying the ship down, and then the wind creature seems to, cause the things to go. And then the camera kind of cuts out briefly when the wall is busted open, and then it's just kind of, you see Bouclier eventually arrive. There's not really anything else of interest. All the tourist groups seem to have fled as soon as the weather turned poor. Unsurprisingly, when you see, localized weather inside a building, it tends to get people to GTFO.
Yeah.
But But yeah, that's really what you're able to tell from that.
Okay.
So it does seem that there are, and remember, I think, you guys do not have comms yet.
Not really, I don't think.
Yeah. I think the next thing, you guys are entitled to an upgrade to your base, so that could be something you could invest in, is the comms for you guys.
Yeah.
But, so Mind Warp, you have the name of somebody at the university. Cygnus, you've got the footage, and I'll let you go back to that footage if you'd like. And Bookly, because you rolled so well on this too, if there's something else after the fact that you might have noticed there that we just haven't talked about yet, I will allow you to be sorry, to prompt your memory, like, oh yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
What would you guys like to do next? Perhaps Mind Warp, you meet up with either, I mean, you're so fast you could be keeping track and running back and forth between the two of them.
Yeah. And I think that what he would say is, I got a potential of someone I could talk to that maybe she'll know someone who could tell us more about the history of this and why someone would even want these old artifacts.
It's good to be thinking of the character backstories too, but you're in the museum right now. You could conceivably use networking to try and get information from the people who work here.
Right, that's true. Maybe they have some idea.
Just see something.
What do you think, Cygnus? You seem
Yeah, I know
deep in
what
thought
I
here.
want to try and do next.
Yeah.
I kind of want to almost sort of kind of do what Jeff does, except most museums have an actual, like an archive type department where actual scientists and linguists and whatever, study the objects in the museum.
Yeah.
So that's what I want to try and look for. I want to try and maybe make contact with someone there who may be specialized in the non-such and assorted paraphernalia.
Yeah. I don't know if the Manitoba Museum does it, but our Canadian content for today, apart from this adventure in general, is if you find yourself in Drumheller, Alberta, when you go to the Dinosaur Museum, the Royal Tyrrell Dinosaur Museum, one of the first things you see is the entire lab of the paleontologists all at work there. It's super fucking cool. So you got like a giant T-Rex skeleton in one room, and then you can see everyone at work, like right through the big glass thing. It's pretty cool.
I think all the dinosaur museums have done that, because Morden's is like that now too.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. It's just neat seeing them at work.
In L.A. were like that. It was really neat. It's like it's I guess it's sort of circular. And so, like, all the exhibits are out here, but the inside is almost all glass, and you can see all the people inside working.
Just, even just strictly from encouraging kids to get involved. Like, it's one thing to be like, I like dinosaurs and I want to, work with dinosaurs. But there's another thing of being like, oh, that's what you do. Like, that's what your actual work is. That's a very cool way of making that connection if they don't come from, that kind of background.
Right.
So that's great. So Cygnus, I think that's going to be just a typical networking role. That would just be a persuasion.
Persuasion? Okay.
Yeah, asking around, trying to
locate.
Yep. Yeah.
That's a success.
Okay.
I'm gonna take it.
So you've got, I think, in addition, let's say that in addition to the security footage and whatnot, you're able to kind of get an idea of like who swiped in, who swiped out, and you find there is a doctor who is working here. Let's see. It is. Get their name here.
Dr. Strangely Evil.
Dr. Noah Cook.
Okay.
Let's see here. He is a historian at Manitoba Museum. Okay. All right. So you can see, he's definitely downstairs, and it's as you thought. There is a separate, kind of area, and Dr. Cook would be working here today.
Okay.
So, how do you introduce yourself to him?
That's a good question.
Smash through the wall. Ah!
No.
think maybe let me set up a scene for you, and then you can. So maybe like he and like some of his grad students and summer students are all. Yeah, no, it was springtime, so it would have been not summer students; it'd be grad students. What you see him talking to maybe some of the police. You're able to recognize it from his, the swipe card. Yeah, and he is. I think he is probably in his late 50s. He's, almost completely gray, little straps of black. He's got that kind of tousled hair thing. He's got a mustache that is a impressive one. Checked shirt, khakis, and he's sort of talking to the police about whatever, and they're maybe discussing about how they're going to get the non-such, back in or whatever. Like, just this is it being stolen was a tragedy, and this now just presents a problem to get it back in. So, Cygnus, you can feel free to walk up now and
Yeah, I think Cygnus walks up, and he's not necessarily imposing, but he is a guy in, black armor.
Yep.
Basically.
Yep.
And probably people don't, if anybody thought about it, they wouldn't know if it's a robot or if it's a person. They wouldn't really be able to tell that. So I think he walks over and he's like, Dr. Cook, I'd like to speak with you when you have a moment.
Okay, and he looks over. Okay. You're one of the ones who drove the thieves off.
Yes, I am Cygnus, and my friends are Mind Warp and Bouclier.
Okay. Have you guys all reconvened when you're having this conversation?
That's up to them. I was just naming.
I kind of feel like with my super speed, maybe I am showing up at a lot of these things that they're doing.
Yeah. I think Bouclier, has probably wandered back over, and he's attempting to look intimidating in the background, but he's kind of forgetting that he's normal sized again, and just kind of he's just
Okay.
And he's not really attempting to help. He's just thinking, maybe if I'm here. Yeah.
So he
just kind of a guy in spandex.
And he says, thank you. So Dr. Cook says, thank you for driving them off. And he gestures to you, Mind Warp, and for reassembling the replica. Phenomenal. I cannot thank you enough. I'm just going to make a check for him to see if, because Mind Warp actually has a public identity, unlike you guys. So people, and like a lot of small towns in anywhere else in North America, like if someone is from Winnipeg and they have any kind of notoriety or whatnot, Winnipeggers tend to know that. So. This guy does not, however, know what, doesn't seem to know who Mind Warp is. What can I help with?
Well,
we're still doing an inventory to see what has been taken. We could not speak to you as to whether what has gone yet or what has been damaged.
Yes, we noticed that a logbook from the captain of the Nonsuch was absconded with.
Captain Gillam's log, and he looks back at his grad students, and they seem to be like, they seem disappointed by that. Obviously, no.
Do you have any type of research notes, or maybe even a scan of that logbook?
We have copies of those, both physical and electronic.
Wonderful. If I could get a copy of that, that would be extremely helpful.
We can arrange for that, certainly. Do you think it would assist in... Why would they come? The ship...
That's what we're kind of working on trying to figure out, but obviously the logbook was important to them in some manner, so we're hoping we can peruse it and maybe find some sort of clues.
Robert, do you have your phone next to where your keyboard is? Or near?
I might.
Okay, the only reason I can hear you typing.
I'm taking some notes. So
yeah, I figured as much. That's great. I don't want to interrupt that.
Let me mute myself here.
Okay. Sorry. And thank you. So what? Yeah, he says. Well, certainly, I don't. I can't imagine the log may have value, but really only of a historic variety. The nonsuch. What he gestures outside to where this, Mind Warp has reconstructed it. It was a vessel of trade and exploration. There were no hidden treasures to be found, no lost cities. And this, he gestures at the ship, impressive as it is and grateful as we are for it being reassembled, it's a replica. It's not the original ship. There are some artifacts that we have been able to incorporate that have lasted, but the artifact itself, or the ship itself, it's no older than a 77 Charger.
There's something Go ahead.
Do you know where the original is?
The original had destroyed long ago, torn apart. Some of these vessels were repurposed, but the timber and being exposed to the elements as they were, they are not built to last forever. The only artifacts we had were some items from the crew, the journal, of course, or log, and the compass. The compass itself.
Of the compass, I have the compass, and so I want to let him know that and say, is there anything? Does this look like it was last you saw it? That's what he asks him.
And he says, if I might.
Yes.
So he takes it and he examines it. No, it's remarkable. There is some minor damage to this, but thank you. This this is not part of the museum's collection. This was donated by Foreign Fader. And would you guys each give us a common knowledge check, please? And you get a +1 to this.
Common knowledge +1.
Nope.
There's a reason that might make total sense, Mind Warp.
Yeah.
Okay. So unless anyone wants to spend any... Oh, now everyone gets a Benny, too. Jeez. I'm falling down on my job here. Unless anyone wants to spend a Benny on this.
No, I'm good.
Not right now, no.
No,
Okay.
I'm good.
Oh, and you're muted, Robert. Sorry. You had... I wrote a paper for our legal education thing this week, and the title of the paper is "You Have to Unmute," because it's about remote discoveries. Awesome, Blue Clear. Yeah. So both of you guys would know this. So and maybe you know, Cygnus and Bouclier both react like, "Oh, of course." And Mind Warp, you're like, "What are you guys talking about?" Foreign Fader is a kind of like, it's a company, and you can think of it kind of like the Canadian Apple. It is one of these, like, you know, billionaire-driven tech kind of companies that's just involved in an awful lot of stuff. It is a gentleman of some kind of Scandinavian origin who runs it, whose name is Eric Foreign Fader. And it's got this very distinctive, like, FF logo that appears on a bunch of different things. And he's ridiculously wealthy, but remains Canadian, like resides in Canada still. And if he donated this, the Norse runes makes a little bit of sense because Eric, Eric, or Eric FF has that kind of, he definitely, while he also identifies as Canadian, he has a thick, like Scandinavian accent, and still, incorporates a lot of like Scandinavian nomenclature and such into the naming. Like a lot of brands, I think Form Fader just kind of fades into your background. Like you don't give thought as to what it actually means, Cygnus and Bouclier. But Mind Warp, having heard this for the first time, do you have any training in academics?
No, I don't.
So you can give us an unskilled check then, please?
No.
Unless you want to Benny that, then...
No, that's such a hard one to...
Okay, so you... so as Cygnus and Bouclier, what you would know is that it's something that would have been donated from the collection of Eric Foreign Fader. And why? It's, it's got Scandinavian runes on it. That makes sense. And it is a little bit of a, albeit minor, Canadiana. But, yeah. Anything else you wish to ask of Dr. Cook?
I don't know. I guess, I think I guess I could ask him, is there anything, is there any reason that he could think of based on what he knows of where the ship's been, why somebody would want to break in?
The ship, the only notoriety the ship has is as the first European vessel to navigate in Hudson's Bay. They were commissioned by the Hudson Bay Company, or what would become the Hudson's Bay Company, to navigate in there. Nothing sensational or extraordinary from it, apart from that remarkable achievement.
Okay.
This is not a matter of conquistadors finding riches in a far-off land. This is not a matter of legends of lost cities or hidden gold. It's simply a commission to try and open trade, and something that would lead to many of the settlements along the interior of Hudson's Bay. The European settlements, I mean. It was key for what would become the fur trade in what would become Canada. But apart from that, I cannot think of why anyone would want to steal those those things. But my area of expertise extends to history, not to supernatural or mythology.
Is there a tour guide or museum staff we could speak with?
Well, I am staff at the museum. What is it you're wishing to learn?
Well, I was hoping sometimes the person who tours the public around may have heard some rumors that don't make it back to you necessarily, just talk that happens in the museum amongst the visitors.
Oh, I see. I can put you in touch with our, and it looks over. We have the contact information for, let's see who would be in charge of the tour guides. Janelle Brock is our human resources. She can give you a full name, a full list of the guides who provide them.
Wonderful.
Though the museum is of modest means, and often they are, unless there is a tour group, they are more often self-guided tours.
Of course.
we will do so. Is there anything else I could assist with?
I don't think so, but you've been very helpful.
You, and he gestures once again out at the Nonsuch, you have been... The Nonsuch is such a iconic part of our museum. I cannot imagine functioning. I cannot imagine what it would take or cost to replace it. So you have done... It is unfortunate losing the journal or the log, but this will be a... this has made what is a unfortunate event, has prevented it from becoming a catastrophe. So thank you. And
You're welcome.
Cameron, you will arrange for that. And this as well. We have a full record of all the markings on this. Will that be of assistance as well?
That would probably be useful.
It's an image archive. We can send that to you as well. He looks
Wonderful.
over at Janelle, and you can tell it's just that kind of age thing. He likely does not know how to do electronic file stuff. So she's like, yeah, absolutely, doctor, absolutely. So, with that, I mean, unless there's anything else you wish of Dr. Cook, what would you guys like to do next?
I would say we need to go back to headquarters and research, but that's my opinion.
Oh, you're muted again, Robert.
Just trying to think if it's worth talking to this HR lady.
Why don't you give us a persuasion check?
Yeah, I could give her a call, right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't hurt.
Because we're sort of in a montage era or period right now.
He's just thinking that, like, you know, people in the museum might talk about conspiracy theories or like rumors they've heard on the internet or just weird things that wouldn't go back to the science guy.
Yeah.
No.
You want to Benny that?
Yeah, I'll do it, Benny.
Okay. Oh, yeah, rolled in. Hold on. Yeah, I mean, that's a lot less reflective of you being, you know, less persuasive. It doesn't seem like there's much.
No, like you said, it's self-guided tours, so
most of it is self-guided, and the ones that do give the tours, like, it's sort of scripted stuff too. It's not necessarily the, you know, the actual, you know, historians or people who write papers or do conduct translation or whatnot. It's a very different skill set for the people who do the tours.
Well, and I'm imagining the people that are paying, because you have to like sort of arrange a tour. These would be like school groups, like kids and whatnot.
Exactly. So it's going to be
the conspiracy nut guy is just walking through there, murmuring at all the other random people in the place.
Yeah. And sorry, Robert, what were you trying to say when you were muted?
Oh, I just agree with Will. So I think Bouclier would want to go back to the
Ravenscrag?
Ravenscrag, yeah.
Okay. All right. So then, if there's anything else, we will leave you guys. We'll have you leave Winnipeg. A portal opens up, and we return to Ravenscrag. So, the map later and rearrange some of this stuff. So, what do you guys wish to do next? As you return, I think you find Dr. Caliburn in the main doorway. Sorry, Robert, if maybe even you could move the mic slightly away from the keyboard, that might be
okay.
So one of the things that can help, I don't know if you've got like a piece of cloth or something like that, or a glove or something. If you put that on there, just something that's going to deaden the vibrations.
The bounce.
Yeah. We found out with Dave had to do that a month or so ago as well, where he was using this thing and just because the surface of the desk or table or whatever transmits the vibrations.
Okay. You know what? I'm gonna use my notes and then transfer them. I'm gonna use a notebook and transfer later.
Oh, okay.
So,
well, whichever, and we're going to take our mid-session break in a couple of minutes here. So if there's anything you can, put that into our paperback novel or anything like that, something that's just going to provide enough of a,
Oh, you mean under the computer?
Under the phone, yeah, like under the, because you put that into the phone, that prevents it from at least some of the noise from that's being transmitted.
Sure.
So you guys walk back in, and once again you find Dr. Caliburn. Now where here he is. He's waiting, kind of standing at the top of the stairs as you guys, walk through the portals into the main foyer. And he says, "So, the matter has been dealt with."
Well, it's like peeling an onion. There's a layer and a layer and a layer. There's
what
more
was
to
it? I don't feel the disturbance any longer.
It appeared to be some sort of witch type who had some minions, and they attempted to abscond the nonsense out of the museum. We were able to prevent that, but unfortunately they did escape with the journal of the captain of the nonsuch. And
Wait. Who are we talking of? Who did you see?
A witch.
There's I was going to say, there's a TV in here, right?
They're in the hallway, probably not. In the building at some point, yeah.
Because I can show him the video footage.
Oh, from the thing, yeah.
From the museum.
Yeah. Okay,
So let's do that. Let me show you the footage.
Okay. So he stands, and you guys go in. You can picture you go into a big, like a study where there's a television. You get things hooked up. I think maybe it takes one or two tries because you walk up and it's one of those old like CRT things with the bunny ears on top, and you kind of like, come on, doctor. With some effort, you're able to scrounge up, I imagine from Bouclier's room, a big plasma screen thing that's set up in the main area here, and you're able to play that. You need not make any rolls to see he is stroking his beard as he's watching this in a increasingly agitated manner. And he says, and this is who you saw. So after he views the whole thing, he sees the bear, he sees the wind spirit, he sees her. He says, tell me more of this compass.
We didn't take any pictures.
I know she had it. She was trying to leave with that as well. And then I've got the image files of it.
Yeah,
so I can
they would have arrived as soon as that grad student got back to the desk. They were sent you that and all the, the journal. So you're able to display that. He says, now that is curious. Go back to the second photograph and zoom in near the base. And he gets you to go back, and you can zoom right in there. And on the brass, there is Nordic symbols, but there is one exceptional mark on there. That is some kind of hermetic symbol. If you think of, like, picture in your mind almost any Western hermetic symbol. I take it no one has training in occultism?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or occult.
Bouclier's probably watched Supernatural, but
let me see if I can find an image for it. So this would be most definitely not a part of Norse traditions, but Dr. Caliburn, he stops stroking his beard and his one eyebrow arcs up. He says, well, now that is curious. I take it none of you recognize this?
No.
This is some of the elementary readings I have suggested for you all. This is the sigil of John Dee.
Oh.
Mage in service to Queen Elizabeth. The court wizard. He's kind of like looking at you guys all waiting for it to settle in. The father of Hermetic. Do you read nothing that I leave for you?
You know those texts put me to sleep, right?
I do know who John Dee is. I may not know his sigil, but I do know who John Dee is.
Yeah. So he says, if this, you say this was on the Nonsuch. What were the years of the voyage? And this is where Bouclier's incredible roll from before could come in. You remember it's 1668, 1669.
Okay. Yeah, he pops up. Just 1668, 1669. Why?
And all of you kind of stop.
Yeah.
How did?
Yeah.
So Dr. Caliburn kind of slowly nods, and he says, "Well, that is curious, then, in that it is nearly 70 years after Dee's death. It's been long suspected that Dee did not meet his end, and instead found an alchemical means to extend his life. If so, this would be a work of his, though his work embraced traditional Hermetic beliefs, not Norse magics. So these markings, I'm curious as to who...
Bouclier says, not only did we fought things that looked, and kind of looks at the other guys for confirmation, but he's not 100% sure of what he's about to say, but like Norse mythology, and I've seen Thor, they look like the giants you see on that, but we also fought a lot of other things that, and he looks over, he says, were those Wendigo that we saw?
That's what they appeared to be.
Yeah.
And then I'm still not 100% sure where those blue beasts, I don't know if they're Norse or if they're something else.
So,
you say these things were facing one another?
No, they were fighting us. Same side.
Cooperatively.
Yeah, we fought the Wendigo first, then we fought the Frost Giants and their blue beasts, and then we fought the witch and her minions.
Do you think that the other beasts were a conjuring of or a summoning of some sort by that witch to distract us while they accomplish their real mission?
It could be, but while such things do not walk the mortal world openly any longer, the creatures of myth still exist. Though, to have those of disparate traditions working together and outside the purview, what I see here, I see suggestions of, and he gestures at the wind spirit. This seems a lap demon, a wind demon. This, and he gestures at her, clearly markings of the Norse.
Oh, sorry.
And the Norse have a strong tradition of the not only wizards, but the blue caste, the frost giants and their ilk. Not all are giants. And this, and he gestures at the bear, those markings, those are Inuit. There is a Inuit legend of a bear, Nanook, a wild spirit, but one not altogether hostile to mankind. There are suggestions of Nanook there, but very different. Were these of great power?
They weren't pushovers, but they definitely were powerful.
Mm-hmm.
I would say.
Buckley asked, does anyone know, he's like, random thoughts are going in his head. He says, where we have the log now, right, of the voyage. Are these creatures of myth related to maybe where this ship went? Or maybe she was attempting to take the ship using the log and the compass on the same path? Like, would that make sense? Would there be anything? And he's just kind of riffing at the moment.
Yeah. Well, it looks clearly they are seeking something. Go ahead, Jeff. I don't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, I was going to say, now that we've heard the ship is a replica, I'm sure the ship itself was of no significance to them and simply a means of escape.
Yeah.
An intended means of escape.
Yeah.
So Dr. Caliburn steps away, and he's once again stroking his beard and back and thinking. And he says, if these were the gods, I assure you, are real. But their power is limited, and in this age, it is rare for them to make appearances in this.
Bouclier smirks when he hears that the gods are real. He doesn't.
Yeah,
he's a true atheist.
And I would think it beneath them to wish to steal such a paltry object, even if crafted by one as noteworthy as D. Why would D craft such a device? Why would it be of value to... Wait. And he kind of like, sweeps across the room, and he grabs a big atlas off the wall. It's one of those big, maroon covered things. Pull it down, puts it down, flips it over to a big map of Manitoba. And he begins looking around. Gimli. There are a great deal of Norse communities in the north of your province. And, oh gosh, I forgot what's Minewarp's real name again?
Lincoln.
What was his surname?
Oh, Mansfield.
A curious number in Dr. Mansfield. And curiouser that one of the communities named on the shores of Hudson's Bay is Bifrost.
Yes. Very curious. That was like an ancient gateway or something?
More so, a bridge.
A bridge, yes.
A bridge that spanned all the 9 worlds of the Norse beliefs. Now, I feel that there is more to be learned. Why would seeming godlings of various northern gods wish to steal the compass crafted by the greatest occultist of the 17th and 16th centuries, that was brought into the as yet unknown territory of Hudson's Bay. There is more to this story, my friends. Who was behind this voyage?
Oh, you mean who financed?
Who financed, who prompted, who chose to delve into there?
Part of it was the captain, and part of it was probably the government.
Probably.
Really.
As a scientist, I would expect more from you than suppositions, Doctor.
Well, let me Google
Called
that.
hypotheses.
Let me Google that for you.
Google, and he shakes his head and gestures, and there's all the portals kind of open up. You have the entire world at your disposal, archives of information locked off from the internet, and you would restrict yourself to the limits of what you can find on your phone.
Got to start somewhere.
So, what you can do then, Cygnus, is give us a common knowledge check, I think. That's probably what internet use would be.
Got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Bam. There we go.
Okay, so success, but not a raise.
Right.
Go on a fish for a raise with the Benny.
Let's see. 1034.
We'll be taking our mid-session break in a moment, and you will be getting a Benny as well.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
Let's try a reroll. Come on. Nope.
So as far as you know, there are, it's the Hudson's Bay Company that directed this. They were the ones who had that. But even the most creative searchers of the internet, you're not really much able to find much beyond that. But there are records of the minutes of the Hudson's Bay Company that happen to be stored in the archives of the Hudson's Bay Company in Winnipeg. If you could gain access to the archives, they would have the original minutes of the different board meetings. Corporate board meetings, sadly, are not a new thing. And the minutes of the corporation, they may shed some light on what has prompted them to take this voyage.
All right, so I guess that's where we're going next, huh?
So,
And do you show that to the good doctor?
Well, I
Say,
just
hey, look what I found. Look what I found.
I think Cygnus says I think our trail leads to Winnipeg.
again, and actually, I don't. So I've said it. I think the Hudson's Bay Archive is in Winnipeg, but I can't remember if it's in Toronto. Let me double check.
Headquarters was listed in Toronto.
Yeah.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that's where all the archive stuff is.
No, and because I know they. Here, let's see here. Hudson's Bay Archives is in Winnipeg. Okay, that's
Cool.
yeah, on Vaughan Street. Vaughan Street. You guys all are familiar with the.
Yeah, I was just up there the other day.
Exactly. So it says so. Your lead once at your. It appears you are once again returning to Winnipeg. Anything else anything else we need to consider before you retire? It is late in the day. I think fresh tomorrow morning will be the time to return. Mm-hmm. Will you be able to? And I will leave it to you to arrange access. Anything else we should discuss?
I've showed him the. Did I show him the journal?
You have the log, but you have not shared it with him yet.
Okay. Yeah, I need to let him know that we've got that as well. We have a copy of the captain's logbook.
A review of that would be beneficial.
Yes, we know that she looked at it, but we don't know specifically what she was looking for. But she did try to take it along with the compass.
She did seem to confirm its contents in your video.
Right.
What do you make of that?
Whatever she was looking for is in there. Whatever the next step was going to be in this plan, for lack of a better word, because this wasn't any kind of, this was calculated.
So without knowing the objective of her plan, we know at least 2 of the key components. Yes?
Yes. Well, and don't logbooks usually contain histories of dates with locations?
Indeed.
Very much so.
So it would confirm that this captain had been somewhere important to her, would be my guess.
What do you make of the compass, then?
Well, that's a little outside of my realm of expertise.
Maybe in.
Where is the compass now?
The compass is back at the museum.
You left it where it was taken before?
Well, I'm sure they're not going to put it back on display immediately.
Maybe she seemed really disturbed when she lost the compass. And again, riffing. Could she be looking for John Deeves, either if he is alive or where he was buried? Could that have some significance? The symbol.
He kind of smirks and he says, "You assume that either any of John Dee's purported graves are accurate, and that he did die."
Right, but perhaps she thinks he died on the voyage, and she's using his logbook to follow where the ship went.
Now that is curious. When you review the log, there should not be passengers on such ships. They are mercantile endeavors, and as such, the crew should be only members of the Hudson's Bay Company hired on as employees for the crew.
But if John Deeves was a wizard...
Maybe we could look through the pages of the logbook to see if he did take a passenger.
Or he may have just had a different identity.
And review. The log should include entries not only from the captain, but comments from the ship's doctor, such that they could exist on the ship. Look to that. Excuse me. I think it not wise to leave the compass unprotected in the museum.
Mm-hmm. I would agree.
While I don't doubt that they will use whatever means they can to secure it, if it has not been seized by the authorities, then from what you've described, those who would be in pursuit would not be limited by vaults or locked doors. Now, is there anything else you wish to tell Dr. Caliburn of what you experienced while you were in Winnipeg?
Is there anything else? The snowstorm, obviously, but he saw that on the footage.
What about the thing that you created?
Okay, let's not bring up everybody's got skeletons in their closet. You don't see me talking about your stuff.
Yours is
My
sort
stuff
of
does not manifest an attempt to kill me.
Yes.
At least not yet.
Yours is sort of a literal.
Yeah, I don't think that has any real play in this, honestly.
He seemed to be quite happily fighting alongside them.
Yes.
Dr. Caliburn is looking back. He says, "What is it you're speaking of?"
All right, you brought it up. Go on, out with it.
Well, I don't know exactly what happened, but at some point here, Sai summoned something accidentally.
He looks at you, Cygnus. Have you been reading those books I've been leaving for you?
No, I don't believe it was that kind of summoning. It's more of a space-time anomaly.
Because those always.
He steps forward and he looks down at the chest plate where you have your and he says, "A space-time anomaly. So you brought something from beyond this world to ours."
Well, theoretically, there's miniature black holes out there already. We just can't detect them because they're so small. It's no big deal. It's nothing to worry about.
You speak of an invisible world that only those those with the proper education and tools can view.
There are many invisible worlds.
I take it that this summoning, this did not occur at your will?
No, it was definitely an accident.
This, and he gestures, you have your words for this. They're older, and what you find is not what you study and create, though impressive, is not new knowledge. What is with you can be a portal, a bridge between worlds. In my discipline, we would say that your knowledge extends to a world of darkness. And when...
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say darkness, but okay.
Tell me, this as yet unknown matter, what is it you call it again?
Singularitas.
Not the creature. The things you've mentioned, your invisible world. What kind of matter?
Dark matter.
That eyebrow cocks up very slowly.
Hey, look, I didn't name the stuff. I just study it.
What came through?
Certainly not something friendly.
Yeah.
There are two kinds of summonings, broadly speaking. Creatures can be brought from beyond and manifested through force of power, allowing them to have an anchor. The other variety, more powerful, is to create a portal through which they can travel. Such creatures are not of this world, but those of sufficient power can remain. And this, and he taps on your chest once again, Cygnus, this can be, to those of the knowledge, a portal. When did it manifest?
Let's see. That was when we were fighting the Wendigos.
So near where you found the witch, the compass.
Yeah. What, maybe a block at most away? Does that sound right?
That sounds right.
And this dark spirit, you say it allied itself with her?
Well, would I have looked at it, like, just based on kind of the combat?
Yep.
Would it seem aligned with them, or would it seem just mainly pissed off at me?
What do you guys think?
It didn't just go after you, did it?
Yeah.
See, I'm a little vague on that.
Yeah.
I was so concerned with wind and the bear that I didn't notice.
I think it attacked other people.
Okay.
But if it just went after you, then Bouclier would wonder about the whole anchor thing. Like, you're holding it here, and it either wants to go back or it wants to be free.
Well, once it arrived, did it not head to the museum? Or in the direction of it anyway?
No.
That I'm fairly certain of.
Yeah, it fled before you guys had defeated the Wendigo.
That's what I was going to say. I think you're right, Jeff.
Yeah.
And I think it went in the direction of the museum itself, which was where those enemies were.
Yeah, that's right.
Then
Well, it's not really my fault. Evil Witch did it.
you're not wrong. We need to know more of what Dee's compass was in. Why was that on the voyage on the Nonsuch? Because if this thing, Cygnus, you may simply have been an easy portal through which something came in answer to her call. What you described, frost giants, Wendigo, and others, they are not creatures of this world any longer. The belief that once sustained their worlds is there is something I must follow up on as well. I do not wish to cloud the matter if it amounts to nothing. But the reason for the voyage, the compass, I think these are the keys to why, whatever her goal, her ultimate goal may be, these will be the keys to achieving that and therefore to understanding why.
I guess we're going back to the museum.
And the archive.
Yes.
The archive tomorrow.
Bouclier says, and maybe we should talk to some of the graduate students. They could have found, the witch could have found this information from anybody, but it seems like maybe the most obvious place she could have found it was from somebody there.
Anything else you wish to tell Dr. Caliburn?
No. You just wait. You're going to screw up.
Hey, I never said you screwed up. I just thought it was important additional information.
Bouclier just says, oh yeah, and I got to be the size of, I think, I was like as big as a whale.
Indeed.
Which
Everybody else.
named it Heisler.
Yes.
You are truly living up to your namesake then. Anything further?
No.
All right. Then, why don't we take our belated mid-session break now, and then we'll come back and see what you guys choose to do next. So for those listening at home, we'll be back momentarily. So where you're going to turn the page and see the double-page spread about the Saturday morning specials.
Nice. All right.
Oh, need everybody back. Stay down long.
Sorry, guys.
No, that's fine.
My sister, it's her last morning here, so we're just planning for breakfast right after the session. So
Nice.
She's joining me in my traditional post-Saturday morning, diner breakfast. So
There you go.
Very nice.
Okay. So, guys, what else do you wish to do this evening, if anything? Is there, I take it there's nothing else you wish to bring to Dr. Caldeburn's attention? Nothing else you wish to discuss with him?
Nothing that I can think of.
Nada? Okay. So then, as he goes on, tell me about what you guys are going to be do this evening, and what does it look like when while all this is happening? Are you guys still all in your costumes, or have you taken masks off? Have you activated the visors to retract?
Yeah, I was going to say, I think, with Cygnus's, it just all, the top part just kind of completely melts down to the rest of the suit. I mean, when he goes, when he goes back.
I think Bouclier would probably take off the spandex and put on something a little more normal.
Yeah.
Yeah. It might change over time, but
Yeah. Mine warps so fast. I'm sure as soon as he gets home, he puts on something comfortable.
Yeah.
yeah. And by the way, Bouclier now has a name, Calvin Brooks.
Calvin Brooks, nice.
Yeah. So, been watching a lot of Calvin Hobbes.
Well, it's also what is? Oh, I'm gonna kick myself when I see what this is, but. Yeah, of course. God damn it. Calvin also makes me Calvin Zabo, which is Mr. Hyde in Marvel.
Yep.
I had to look it up. I'm like, oh man, it's on the tip of my brain, but great stuff. Another guy gets real big and potentially out of control.
Oh, I had no idea. So
yeah, I know, that's great. It's a great little happy coincidence.
Yep.
Okay, so then everyone gets a Benny, and while you guys are sitting in the study, he's left you. You got Bouclier's big plasma sitting on top of the old CRT thing. There's all these books. You didn't realize that, oh man, like there's tons of stuff in the inside of the study as well. That's actually not just for show, has some information in it. What are you guys doing? You have an opportunity to debrief without, teacher around now. How does Cygnus feel knowing that it's not only like, a creation of his device, but it actually served as a portal through which something could travel?
Well, I mean, he understands the underlying physical principles of it and everything.
Yeah.
And that's probably one of the things that he worked on after last session, and he's probably doing it now.
Yeah.
Is kind of the indication. But getting rid of the reckless hindrance.
Yeah.
He's working on the armor. He's probably got like he's probably got like a laptop, and the armor, and I've thought about this, and I think this makes sense, and this is kind of cool. When he's not wearing the armor, it actually just turns into a ring. All that nanotech is contained in a ring that he wears. And then when he
that's a great idea. The thing is that all of your stuff is built as armor. So
no, that's fine, Kevin.
No, it doesn't matter. That's fine actually, because you don't. I'm trying to think this through. No, that's totally fine. Ignore me.
Okay.
Yeah. No,
I didn't think it would make a mechanical difference in my mind.
No, it won't at all. Ignore me. Completely ignore me. You know, too entrenched in the fucking Champions or DC Heroes mindset. Savage Worlds is all about, cool, sounds awesome. So that sounds cool. That's awesome.
At first, I didn't know it was the nanotech. I had an idea of the character, and I was like, oh yeah, that would be really cool. And he would have it with him, know, and it doesn't.
But I mean, nanotech doesn't necessarily make it.
We've already seen in like Iron Man.
Well, how would the ring not? How would the ring not weigh the same though? Is what because it's not violating the fundamental.
It's magic.
Yeah.
No, I mean, if you want to do that, that's fine. I just think of it as, like you said, okay, so it's a portal, and that's kind of the mindset behind it. Is you can shift mass around.
Okay, I buy that. Yeah. I buy that. All right, so you got that shrunk down to your single ring, and maybe that little the gem that's in the center of your head or the iris thing. That's what's on the
Yep, that's the.
So Cygnus is going to be at work. Does he say anything to either Mind Warp or Bouclier before he heads up, or is he sort of like not yet?
I don't know. I mean, when he's like, okay, I've got to go work on this armor. I've got to look into some stuff. I've got to try and figure out about this portal thing. I got to make sure that doesn't happen again. So I'm going to put some safety things in here.
How does Mind Warp feel about that?
I think being back in Manitoba, and especially looking through the roster of professors at the university, and maybe seeing like one or two people that were different from his world, like really brought back in his mind, like he is kind of out of place a little bit. So I think it's like made him homesick in a weird way, because it's not that he's not kind of home, but he's kind of not too. So it's like,
well, even like it's kind of like when you travel to a foreign country and there's a popular brand that you're like, I had no idea. Going to Scotland and having Iron Brew,
right?
And you're just like, what the fuck? Because this foreign fader is like, it's ubiquitous. It's anywhere you would see like an Apple product or something similar. It's that common in this world that you'd never heard of before.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's really jarring.
Yeah. Okay. So sounds like both Cygnus and Mind Warp are kind of having a bit of introspection, or at least an insular reaction to today's things. What's Bouclier or Calvin responding to?
He goes upstairs and he starts watching wrestling videos to see how to get out of grapples.
Okay. Like proper wrestling videos or like WWF stuff?
Well, it probably starts with proper ones, and then he starts noticing crazier and crazier things on the YouTube, and before you know it, it's old episodes of The Rock, and
the deeper he gets into his six pack, the more it's just
Yeah. So
awesome. So what is Mind Warp doing with his time then? Cygnus is going to be in the lab. Bouclier is going to be in his room.
Yeah.
I feel like he starts going down this like rabbit hole of like looking for things that are different. It's like if something, you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
Like sort of the the Mandela effect or whatever, like he's just like searching through the internet and media and like, finding all these strange, small differences.
Okay. So by the time, looks like Bouclier is going to fall asleep with some kind of wrestling playing on his TV. Cygnus is going to finally hit the sack, feeling satisfied that he has studied all the diagnostics that went wrong when Singularitas came through, and that you have shut down whatever that unusual reaction was. So it should not recur. And Mind Warp, you fall asleep, getting to the point where you can't even remember what was like before and what was not.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, was that in here? Has that always been here? Has that always been the case, or is it different? I don't. So I think you all collectively fall asleep. And the first thing you hear is the sound of blowing wind.
Oh, no.
Which I thought at first was actually
it's the best thing about the sound effect. Did I have the window open? What is... Okay, hold on here. Let's see. Where did I put it? Ah, here we go.
Which is, of course, what Bouclier thinks, and he immediately goes to the window.
Each of you, separately and seemingly alone, find yourself, instead of sleeping in your comfortable bed at Raven's Crag, you jerk awake in what seems to be an abandoned house. Windows left open. Imagine what kind of snow would accumulate if you left all the windows open in the middle of a snowstorm, no screens in them whatsoever. You all feel enormously cold. And when you look outside, what you see is we're somewhere in a town very much like this, all at most 2-story or perhaps 3-story buildings. You are most definitely not in Raven's Crag any longer. Would you each give us a notice check, please?
Mm-hmm.
Holy smokes, Mind Warp! My goodness.
Shit.
Everyone. I've said this before, but everyone has their game. The game that just really clicks with them with their luck. Brent has Iron. Brent, who has some of the worst luck with dice of anyone I've ever known. Iron Kingdoms. He just, without fail, rolled like a fucking fiend. Jeffrey, I believe Savage Worlds may be your game.
Maybe that's why I always like it so much.
Yeah.
I just roll roll 20 punishes me in every game we play, and then we play this, and I just roll amazing things.
Except last week. Last week wasn't so good, but
no, that's true.
But
make it up for it.
Well, and this Wednesday also was a really good. Will and Jeff were on fire for dice rolls.
We needed to be.
Yeah. So I think Mind Warp, you are the first one, and perhaps this plays in with your whole different worlds thing. In a moment of panic, you don't lose control to the panic. You immediately respond and kind of. What you find is that you're in some kind of probably some kind of barracks or some kind of workers' quarters, because you zip out of the room that you find yourself in. There's a hallway that's sort of got some snow accumulated in it, and you're quickly able to identify that both Cygnus and Bouclier are in other rooms, and they seem to be waking up with similar kind of where the fuck am I?
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys do?
What the hell? Dr. Caliburn send us somewhere in our sleep?
Or are we still asleep and dreaming?
Yeah, Doctor, I think with that's such a great notice roll too. There's just, you're fairly confident this isn't a real place, Mind Warp. It just feels like, and maybe it's your part of your whole portal thing. There's just a sixth sense, almost like a temporal spatial equilibrium that you can feel, and that's just not here. You're not in a place
something
where
is out.
Yeah. So dreams, perhaps. What's the last thing you all remember?
Watching wrestling videos.
Yeah, I mean, I got done documenting all the stuff I'd done with the suit, and I went to sleep. I mean,
You're going to bed, I guess.
You guys then hear from somewhere a scream. And you recognize that. You heard that when you arrived in Winnipeg.
Oh.
The cry of the Wendigo.
all right, here we go.
No one has training in a cult, right?
Yeah.
No.
I love how many times Kevin. I want a beanie every time Kevin asks that.
In other words, somebody better get some training in a cult in this.
I thought that. I'm like, the only thing we're really missing is like a magic user type character. You know?
Well, I got to follow up with Graham and David said that they would be interested in playing at least part-time, so I need to follow up with them and see what kind of characters they might want to play.
Yeah.
But why don't you each give us an unskilled, see if anyone did any reading of the books Dr. Caliburn left you.
Yeah, I should have.
Right.
Look at that, mind warp.
Good night.
Unskilled.
No, okay.
Yeah.
Mind warp, I don't know why, like maybe you, for whatever reason, you've just been reading a shit ton about these things. You remember reading about the Wendigo. They are something that can attack you in your dreams. So it's not just that they are creatures of hunger and cannibalism. They also are supernatural predators, and they can feed on your very vitality, wearing you down. And imagine what it's like, how unable to control massive swings in emotion you get when you're overtired.
Right.
Would you think that you may even characterize that as animalistic if it went on day after day after day where you just can't get to sleep?
Yeah.
And it's another way that the Wendigo not only corrupting you physically by transforming you into a cannibal spirit, also metaphysically breaking your spirit into being something of only impulse and anger. So you would know all this. That's a fantastic role, Mind Warp.
I think I would share that idea with my
How do you
friends.
phrase it?
I would say we encountered the Wendigos, today, and I have read that they can attack your dreams or your mind in other ways. This could be a manifestation of that. We did just hear the scream.
Don't we need to go investigate it?
Or do we just need to wake up?
I'm not sure if we can combat them in this realm, but maybe that would help to drive them off from our minds.
Bouclier says, somebody punched me really hard. see if that works in this.
I mean, I guess I could punch you.
I
It
was
would
gonna
be more
say,
like I
I'm
punch you
not-
really fast than really hard.
Yeah. Be an easy way to tell if our powers work.
All right, so that is hit with, what's your parry, Bouclier? I'm assuming you let him hit you. So
Yes,
assuming with the
I'm-
raise. That's only
yeah.
7. Oh, you rolled knuckle sandwich instead of mind spread. Oh, because
No.
that's Cygnus.
Yeah, we both rolled.
Yeah.
If somebody hit me, boom, we both hit him.
Mine-
We do not, we don't like you.
The thing is when he's not in combat, all that fades.
Okay, that's fine. But
Yeah.
would he know But would it happen for an instant at least?
It would happen for an instant, yeah.
Yep, sure.
Oh, that's all he kind of wanted, right? To know that
I
it
think
was.
that's what we were trying to experiment with.
Yeah.
Oh, to see if your powers work. Yeah. Roll damage
sure.
for mind spread, please.
Oh yeah. Okay. Here you go.
Yep.
So that's 19. And it
Knock
could
him
be
out.
23 for this one. So what is your...
This might have been a bad idea.
Your toughness is currently at 12.
Yep, so that's 11.
So 20...
2 races?
So that's 1, 2. You're soaking 2 wounds.
Okay.
Go ahead and give us your focus roll.
Yep.
Just see if that works.
Oh, come on.
Kind of funny if you actually hurts them.
Yeah. Why can't I find focus? It's not under skills.
It's under skills.
God, why can't I see it?
You got it, I know.
Yeah.
I know I do. I see.
Yeah.
I see notice. I see.
So it'll be before that because it's alphabetical.
I have electronics, and then I have fighting, and then I have notice. Where'd my focus go?
Did you do something to your... Did you change... Oh, you said you didn't spend your...
No, but I know I have focus, and it's
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Now I have gear that says.
Do you have Bouclier open, or do you have a different character sheet open?
Oh, I've got Cygnus open. Okay, that's why. God. But this is not me. There we go.
Amazing.
Not really.
Okay, so that is
Yep.
1 success. Unless you want to spend a Benny to re-roll, that's enough to soak 2 wounds.
Yeah, I'll take that.
Okay, so yeah, you get slightly bigger, and then it dissipates.
Okay. Sure. Says, well, it seems to work. We could go fight these guys, or should we just work on trying to wake up?
I think if we just wake ourselves up and go back to sleep, we will find ourselves here again.
But if we, even if we beat them here, does
Well,
that?
it may drive them off temporarily.
Okay.
Yeah, I would think, knowing what little I do about things like this, that would be their goal, would be for us to just wake up and then be weak and not rested, and they keep doing that until they wear us down. Whereas if we face our fear and face the enemy, we're more likely to have a positive outcome.
Buclia says, let's go get them.
Bouclier also would remember the cold that he felt when he faced these things.
Yeah. There's a reason he was asking if they could just wake up at once. But if he can't, he's like, well, says, so somebody's going to need to, he looks over at a mind warp. He says, Cygnus says, you can drop me from a big height again right into the middle of them if you want.
Yeah, we just got to go find where these things are.
Yep.
Okay. If you try and make use of your flight, Cygnus, your jets do not seem to be functioning.
Ooh, that's not good.
Okay. So then somebody will just punch me again when I...
Hopefully.
He looks
I'm
over.
sure the Wendigo will take care of that when we find them.
But that doesn't help because it's cold damage, so I can't.
Yeah.
Somebody
Are you vulnerable to cold, or?
Yeah, somebody else needs to hurt me when we're in combat.
I see.
Yeah.
This is the first I've heard of this. Well, also, if this is try to keep your senses alert. If this is some kind of a mind link or something, maybe they will let slip through some of the imagery or something a clue as to what they're up to.
Okay.
Yeah.
So be alert.
This does seem to be a collective mindscape here. So it could very well be that that it's not one of your dreams that you've been brought into. It's that you've been brought somewhere else. So that's interesting. So.
And he looks over at Mind Warp. He says, Bouclier says, test how fast you can go real quick. See if you're working.
Yeah, you need to see if you can move.
Oh, yeah. I'll try and run.
So you seem to be moving at the speed that you normally do.
Okay.
Strange
at least
that
in this building you are, I should say.
Right.
Do you try and move beyond the building?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm so fast, it's easy to,
Yeah.
You might be able to find where they are.
What
real
you
quick.
find is as soon as you go outside, your speed is likewise dramatically reduced.
Great.
We may be but mortals here in this room. Maybe this building is somewhat of a psychic representation of the mansion, and Dr. Caliburn's protections exist in that place. But once we leave here, we are at the whims of the power of the Wendigo.
The whim of the Wendigo? I believe we have today's
The whim
session.
of the Wendigo.
The title for today's issue.
Yeah.
Whim of the Wendigo. In that case, do we even have a chance if we go out there?
Well, it may be somewhat of a matter of mental fortitude or mental combat.
That's what I'm thinking.
Maybe we will be able to use our will against them, not our normal fists.
Oakley does not look at all happy by that. He's like, well, if you guys go out there, I'm going to go too.
So when the door opens, you can see this abandoned street. Looks like there are similar buildings on either side of you. What do you guys intend on doing in this empty town? Seemingly empty town.
Are there like any landmarks that look different than like where we are? Or is it just like the same everywhere?
I'm not quite clear what you're asking.
So, like, are there like any? Are all the buildings kind of the same?
It's very much like the town you see. So, like,
okay.
or you see in the photograph here.
Okay. Yep.
It is very flat. What you can see is that there are no obvious landmarks, like as far as like mountains or anything like that along here too.
Okay.
Ice and snow as far as you can see. At least from here. You're a little further. You're probably around. Whoopsies! Come on, wrong button. Come on, this one.
Wrong button. That should be the new thing you say every time you bring up the initiative tracker.
Yes.
Oops, wrong button. Everyone roll for initiative.
So what would you just say? Like what you would be seeing is a bunch of other buildings around you.
All right.
Right. So.
Right.
I like that spin compass though.
Were we sort of in that like the far building there, or?
Perhaps.
Yeah.
One of these things here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, if we're going to, should we wait till we hear another scream and go towards it? Since that seems to be the plan, to confront them.
I'm good with that.
Well, you've heard the one before, and you're not sure. You recognize the sound of it, but there's one way that it differs. None of you felt that supernatural terror that you felt before.
Okay.
As we start walking down the streets, I guess we would look for like business, like something with signage or.
Yeah. So here's what we're going to do: is there may be stuff you can learn here. So what I'm interested in hearing, we're going to treat this like a dramatic task.
Gosh.
There are skills you can use, and I'm happy to have you guys be as creative as you like with them. You're going to be collecting tokens towards a threshold, and then if we see critical failures come up, then something untoward might happen. There is also a chance of stuff happening with each pass.
Yep.
So I like the escalating dice size for tracking the potential consequence of things. That's a really fun mechanic in this game. So we're going to be using that as well. So the faster you try and gather in whatever information is available, the better. But what do you guys wish to do?
Yeah. Link's going to start by looking for like signs of, a business or something, right? Like, see if there's any,
Yeah.
landmark to try and
So that sounds like a
calculate where it
notice.
is.
I think you'll be using notice for your first pass. So why don't you give us a notice check, please? Are you satisfied with that, or are you on a Benny yet? That's a success.
Yeah, I think he's like, moving at normal speed to look around is just so disorienting, I think. So he's like, that's like the best he can do. He's, normally he would race over this whole town and look at every sign. And now it's like walking down the street. It's like, this is weird.
Well, it's got to be like for Mind Warp 2, but prior to his own experiment on himself, he would have felt this way, right? Like he did have the ability to use clairvoyance, but he didn't have the ability. His mutant power was not to be able to move; it was to use clairvoyance. It's ever since then that you've had this bizarre reaction. It looks to Bouclier and Cygnus like he's moving at super speed, but what he's really doing is teleporting himself and leaving after images. So that, the temporal spatial equilibrium that I mentioned, that's just a key part of that, of knowing instinctively where you are and what's up and what's safe to travel through. Mine, this is the first time that you felt like a normal, like your pre-experiment self again.
Yeah, so maybe instead of feeling weird, maybe it maybe he's just enjoying it. Like it's like a stroll down the, Well, as much as it's like a nightmare kind of landscape, it's like kind of nice.
Yeah. How do you think that Mind Warp? How would you characterize that feeling, that temporal spatial equilibrium? Is that a disquieting thing that he just got used to, or is it something that is like is it like almost like I think it's like a sense that it's like learning to feel a sense that you can't feel. Like, how your body it has a sense of exactly where in space your hand is, but you can't really access it. Your brain can just do it. You can put your hand 6 inches in front of your face without thinking. Yeah. But now he like thinks about that, and like, it's sort of like that. It's like having access to a sense that has always sort of lived in him, but now he's conscious of it. So I don't know if it's like it's like finding yourself as an alien or something, so it's an alien thing, but it's like a part of you. So it's like weird. It's very weird. Okay. It's like having to control your heartbeat all of a sudden or something, it's like, holy shit, this is super weird. All right. So you have, you're moving around, and in spite of the sort of muffled, I guess, or muffling of your that one sense you've come to rely on, you are able to find I think there's some signs down the road. So you have one token thus far towards your dramatic success.
Nice.
Cygnus or Bouclier, what would you guys like to use for your first pass?
Bouclier knowing that it's kind of a dream, also remembers that sometimes things change in a dream, and so he opens the door to the room that they were just in, or the house they were just in, and looks inside to see if anything changed. And then if not, he's going to open the door of a building right next to it. Okay, so let me just... That's a great way of interrogating with the fiction and figuring out. But what we're looking for is, you're kind of putting the cart before the horse right now. That's a great way of describing what you've done. What we want to know is what skill, because you're trying to, we're in a dramatic, mechanically we're in a dramatic task. So probably that would be a notice, because he's looking to see if there are any changes. It's a different kind of thing. Normally you want to be using different skills, but that's a different thing he's looking for. So I think so why don't you give us a notice check? All right, sure. Okay, so the idea would be that we're all using different things normally. Typically, because you're trying to contribute all collectively towards the same task, and then generally you want to be using different things, or there will be escalating difficulties with using the same task. It's to try and make sure that you're, it makes the task interesting for all involved, because you're using different things. But what you've described, though, Robert, is a very different use of notice than what Mind Warp was doing. So. Okay, great. Benny, that? Yes, definitely. We're in our last half hour. Everyone gets a Benny. Okay.
Need 'em.
Look at that.
All right.
Nice.
There you go.
So yeah, Bouclier, what you can tell, like this, looking into all these things, there, you know, you go to the one and you go to the next one down, you look in, and like, this does not seem like a, you know, a hazy dream recollection of some place. There are strange specifics about this that just make you think that this is a reflection of some place. You know, there's a half-eaten bag of potato chips, old Dutch potato chips, in fact, inside one of these, you know, one of the places you look in, and there's a, you know, there's a can of Moosehead beer sitting on, you know, we're really overdoing it with Canadian content today. Someone has the TV tuned to the CBC. Stop it, Madison! Too much Canadian content.
Product placement.
There's a poker game going on with loonies and toonies placed, you know, inside.
No.
What? Yeah. So it just what you the impression you get, Bouclier, is that like this is not like generic whatever town. This is a place where, or a memory of a place at least, of a place where people have lived and been and whatnot.
Okay. Okay.
And you, so you now have 2 tokens towards your eventual success. Cygnus, what are you thinking?
So I wasn't going to do exactly what Robert did. I was actually going to use my science skill to try and see, like, do the clouds make sense? Does the wind make sense? You know, are they correlating or not? Is there any type of visual disturbances, or even something as simple as picking up like a rock or a pebble or something and dropping it and see if it obeys gravity? And that's what he's really wanting to do. He's really wanting to try and perceive the natural laws that he knows that the universe functions under.
Sure.
And compare it to what's going on.
Yeah. Give us a science check, please.
Come on.
That's with a raise.
That's 2,
All
right?
right. Yep.
Awesome.
So you guys have a total of 4 tokens now. What you can tell, Cygnus, is that it's like what Bouclier has mentioned. Like, this is not static clouds overhead. This is not light that comes in the wrong angle. This is the opposite of Uncanny Valley. Everything seems completely credible, and even if you like open up your mask, you know, and breathe in, like, it's got that crisp, cold air that really you only get in the things. You can feel it, you know, catch in your lungs. It's super fucking cold out too. I think the reading on your thing on your visor likely reads at like -35 Celsius. So that's which is close.
Worse.
-40 is where they meet, right? So yeah. So it's really fucking cold. But with enough to get to your first threshold, Mind Warp, you're walking down the street again interminably slowly. You see there is a fire hydrant there, and you brush some snow off of it. Town of Churchill.
Jeff knew that, but now Mind Warp knows that.
Mind Warp would know that as well too.
Yeah.
So you see that.
Well, he knows where it is. Yeah, for sure.
So Cygnus walks up. Bouclier, you know, before I roll the dice for the potential consequence, and before you guys do your next pass, you guys have an opportunity to meet up. And what do you guys all say? What's the scene we see as you're exchanging what you learned thus far?
Bouclier says, I don't think this is a true dream. I think this is something else. This is a real place, right?
Maybe. I mean, it's Churchill or some representation of it.
Yeah, Bouclier and Cygnus, neither of you guys are from Manitoba. This is a small town there, so you probably, it wouldn't be unreasonable for you to think that you don't know where he's talking about. Yeah. And you probably see that on Bouclier's face.
Yeah, and he looks at Mind Warp and he says, by the way, are we dressed as we were when we went to sleep, or are we kind of...
Yeah.
Okay. So he actually, and remind me, Jeff, what's Mind Warp's real name?
Link is probably what you call him.
Okay. Hey, Link, have you been there before? Like, do you know the place?
It's extremely far north. You would only go there if you've had business or maybe as a vacation, but no, I've never been that far north. It's right on the edge of Hudson's Bay, which makes sense with what we've learned of the Nonsuch and its history.
Okay.
Cal, you are sensitive to the cold, are you not?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so he kind of like looks
maybe
confused. Yeah.
Maybe we could use your weakness as a strength here, and maybe the Wendigo are giving off an even greater amount of cold than this horrible ambience. We could play a literal game of warmer, colder, and see if we could try and locate them.
Let me check. I think, and Robert, maybe you can correct me if I got this wrong. I think it's not so much that he is vulnerable to cold, it's that his powers don't function on cold.
Yes, his powers.
Oh, I thought he was. Oh, okay, so never mind.
It's a little. The way they describe it, they call it an Achilles heel, which
it's not that he takes more damage from cold.
Like that is a thing in Savage Supers. You can build your character to be particularly vulnerable to a certain thing, but this
is the first that Mind Warp's heard of it, so he's just he's just brainstorming, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. He's like, no, I don't think so, but and Buckley says, I'm getting tired of this shit. These people, whoever's doing this, and so he's going to use his taunt ability. And he says, I'm going to call these guys out. I want to, he like just raises his voice like, either show yourself or fuck off and leave us alone.
Okay. So you need not make a roll for that.
Okay.
But what I do need from you guys first is the cry of the Wendigo comes. Mm-hmm. And then what I need you guys to do, would you give us this is a fear check, so if you've got anything that modifies fear checks, you can apply that. This is a spirit check at -2.
Oops. Yeah, I was planning on using taunt in case it was something else, because the first time you said that there wasn't that fear. So spirit -2.
Yeah, I need to spend a bit. That's the reroll.
Benny that?
Yeah.
I will also Benny.
Okay.
Sorry, guys, that might have been a mistake.
Well, no, I think this was like Kev does this every round or whatever.
There we go.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Oops.
Critical fail.
Can I Benny that again?
No, critical fail you cannot Benny out of.
Okay.
So, let's see here. We've got...
And I failed as well.
Okay, so Cygnus, you got yourself steeled against this. So first there is the fear check.
But Jeff, you could probably Benny that again if you wanted.
Well, I'll save them for the oncoming final 10 minutes here of Wendigos ripping our souls out of our bodies.
Oosh. So first, Jeff, would you give us a D20 +2? 13. You are stunned and suffer some kind of physical alteration. A white streak forms in your hair, your eye twitches constantly, or some other minor physical alteration.
Ooh.
What do you think this manifests as?
Get your Reed Richards on and get you them nice white stripes above your ears.
So it's just minor?
Just minor, yeah.
Like, I think is like, should I make it cold related or doesn't matter?
Your call. It isn't terror related.
Oh.
So whatever you feel. And it doesn't.
I was imagining like his, his like the hair on his like his eyebrows falls off or falls out.
So he's got.
But
yeah, it could be. I mean, this is only it's only a minor thing.
Yeah,
So
well, no eyebrows is like it makes you look really weird.
Definitely does. Yeah. Okay. So Mind Warp has manifested that way. Bouclier, would you give us a 1d20 plus 4 because of the critical fail?
Yep.
It's not as bad. You are shaken.
Okay.
Okay. Now,
I think he's shaken more by the fact that Cygnus's Link's eyebrow just fell off.
Okay. Then, with Mind Warp is stunned, and Bouclier is shaken. Let's roll 1d4 and see what happens, if anything.
Where the heck is the shaking? No, there it is.
No sign of the Wendigo. You guys are able to recover and proceed with the next pass. So, Bouclier, would you like to roll a taunt to try and push things along here?
Oh, so I'm not stunned anymore?
You will recover. Yeah, you'll recover from being stunned.
He probably shouldn't. He saw what happened, but he's like...
Well, no, this will be... It's just a decision of whether... Like, I think, why don't you just roll taunt? This will be your way of moving along the dramatic task.
Sure. Yeah, he's like, is that all you got, you idiots? Come here. Show, what the hell do you want? He's not even making sense, but at this point, he's just trying to get this. Did I roll it?
I did not. It may have prompted you for a modifier.
Yeah,
so
it did. There it goes.
Okay.
Oh, there was another. Sorry, it didn't go through, but...
You did go through. You got a critical fail.
I'll use the Betty to get the second one.
You can't.
Okay.
Critical fails, you cannot re-roll.
That was a critical fail. Yeah.
So, what that means, though, for a dramatic task...
Yep.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Let's see here.
Come on, that's our best
Oh, wait,
thing.
I forgot to give you guys cards for this as well. Dramatic task is supposed to have those cards, but a critical fail reduces the progress by 1. You guys have 3 tokens, not 2. I think it's as you said, Robert. Like his taunting is just not as bravado, like not as boisterous as it normally is.
Yeah. You see, he's definitely a little. He doesn't want to be here.
Yeah. Cygnus or Mind Warp? What are you guys thinking to try next?
So what Mind Warp wants to try is the building we started in. Obviously, something was different about it. He could sort of feel that time-space sense while he was there. So what he wants to do is he wants to try and I don't know, either search or reach out or however he's gonna try to find it. He wants to see if there's any other locations in the town that are. You see if he can, feel something of a draw from like another building, the hospital or the police station or, just sort of like.
Sure. I think that'd be a focus probably, because that's sort of what relates to you making use of your powers.
Right. See if he can feel somewhere interesting.
Nice. Ooh. That's 2 successes.
Great.
2 raises. So a success and a raise. So that means you get 5 task tokens now. You're like this way, and start moving your way across there.
Yeah, like I feel this way, this direction.
Okay. Cygnus, what are you thinking?
Well, I was thinking. Now, you said this town is on the bay, right?
On the bay, yeah.
Yeah, once you get, and I think once you reach like one intersection, you're able to see out, and it's like you see in the photo of the top of the photograph. That's Hudson's Bay spreading out, all frozen.
Okay.
Yeah, you can see a bit of the water there.
Yeah, I was going to use my common knowledge to kind of try and determine if we're actually heading towards the bay, if we're heading away from it.
Yeah.
Based on what Jeff had discovered.
Yeah. I think that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, give us a common knowledge check. You're trying to draw on what little you know about things. Betty, that?
Oh, hell yes. That's a success.
You get 6 tokens. So, if this is equal to typical dramatic tasks at the most basic level, you would need to get 12 in the span of 3 rounds.
Holy shit.
So, then, now, one thing I did not do is, hold on. Yeah, but the number of tokens achieved is a measure of success rather than a straight win-fail condition. Oh yeah, don't be afraid to let the party choose how many will attempt the task either, especially if there's something else going on at the same time. And I'm trying to see what the... Yeah, so the cards, the reason we draw the cards is the clubs and also for the chance to get a joker. So let's, for this next pass, let's do this. This will also put an order to you guys. So bouclier, an ace of clubs.
That's club.
Fuck. Cygnus, tennis of... oh, you, Cygnus, do you have the one that's the 2... Do you have the edge that gives you 2 cards, or...
I don't.
No, okay, yeah, right. Mind Warp, you're the one that's the 5 or less. You get an extra card. Oh, and a club as well.
One. Yeah.
Anyone want to spend a Benny to get a new card?
Nope.
So you got a club. It means something will be going wrong here. Both Mind Warp.
Yeah, I will. I'll take another card.
Yeah, I'll take another one then.
Okay.
Okay.
Go. So bouclier. Fucking club.
Another club. You're going for the royal flush.
Okay, so there we go. Mind Warp. At least you know how. Bouclier, do you want to spend another Benny to get?
I've got one left. I don't think so.
Okay. All right. So you're going to be suffering a -2 on your check this round. What do you think?
Okay.
I mean, I imagine it's your the lingering fear.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So then the order. Here's the upside. You are going to go first, Bouclier. What would you like to do?
Which is fun because I'm looking at the things that don't overlap with what we've done, and most of them are fighting skills. He's got science, but somebody's used that before.
Again, you can if you can think of a cool narrative way to make use of that. I'm happy. Like the way you made use of notice in your first pass was great. Very different thing from what Mind Warp was doing.
Yeah. You know. Okay. So there's. You said there's the bay is frozen over, right?
Yeah.
Are there any? Can you see any spots that are like open that like he could look, like further along, like where there might be openings in the water that he could look into the water or something?
To what end?
Like, I don't know. I was trying to find a different way just to see if there's anything unusual under the water. But,
I mean, you'd have to like picture yourself. You guys are walking through the town. You'd have to truck out onto the.
Okay. So we're not. Well, I was thinking about using athletics for that, but. Let's try science.
So I'm not. I don't think that would necessarily help it. But can you think of anything else that another maybe use of athletics that might be beneficial for figuring
Well, he's
out?
not that great at athletics, so I'd probably rather use science. But
Okay.
So it's nighttime. He's going to try and get a sense of knowing what, as close as he can, what time of year it is. Using can we see stars?
Well, I mean, it's winter.
I know, but he's just wondering if like the actual date means anything.
Oh,
so,
yeah. Why don't you give us a?
I mean, if he could see the stars, that might be a little bit of science, knowing how to.
Yeah. There's a chance you might be able to. You're getting a -2 on this. Why don't you give us a science check at -2?
Sure.
Just because you're terror. I'd buy that.
Yeah. Okay.
You want to Benny that?
Yeah. Last one.
Come on, man. This is the big one.
Yeah. Right.
See some green.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. -2. Okay.
Come on.
Nope. He is just not having a
You're
good
just
day.
trembling with the cold too. All right.
Yeah.
So I think Cygnus, you're up next. What are you doing?
So I think it's
Let's
summer.
see. It's a good question. I think. Look at something real quick.
Sure.
I think I've got an idea, but I want to make sure it sounds wrong book, stupid. I picked up the superpower instead of the rules. So no, they're having problems.
Okay.
Come on now.
What are you thinking?
Here. I was thinking about trying to look and see.
And see which?
And I was thinking about trying to maybe use athletics to try and hurry up and get up there. Because I know I can't fly.
Yeah. To get up where?
To get to where we're going, basically.
To hustle everyone along?
Yeah, to hustle. Yeah. Because I know that time is of the essence.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Give us an athletics. Yep, I'm fine with that. Give us an athletics check. Benny that? Fish
Oh. I didn't mean, I missed that it came up the first time, but yeah, I would have bennied it anyway.
Okay, so then give us a reroll. We'll click on the reroll on either of them. Let's see if you can get a raise.
No, it's okay. I basically did it, Kevin.
No, I'll let you reroll. It was inadvertent.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't think it came up at first. I don't know why.
Yeah, same problem I had.
Okay.
See this still, damn.
One more token, so you guys are racing along, and then finally comes down to Mind Warp.
Mind Warp says, I think we're getting close. Everyone quiet. And he'll try to like sneak, maybe if we can sneak up on the Wendigo, we can see what they're up to.
Sure.
Here we go.
There we go.
Stealth. He's not good at it or great, but he can do it. Hey!
Yeah,
Success. So that would be a total of 8 tokens you would have generated. Do you want to fish for a raise?
Yeah. There's only, 5 minutes? 2 minutes? Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see what happens. I'll fish for a raise.
Please.
No double one, no double one.
Oh,
Roll 20. You are so dirty. Just do me dirty with 30 seconds left.
Back down to a 6. So I think what you do is you can picture you guys have been hustling along. You point around, and then what you find is there are hundreds of these things that all turn and all simultaneously scream at you. Now, would you each give us this is going to be a spirit roll, and because you guys you were up at 7, you lost 1, you're down to 6. Because you're halfway there, it'll be a spirit roll at -2.
Come on. Nope.
Success.
Got a success.
Oh my god.
Cygnus is along with the Benny.
So, you awaken back in Raven's Crag almost immediately after that, wherever you guys had fallen asleep before. So, Cygnus, you wake up in your bed. Mind Warp, likewise. With all these different searches, your phone maybe or your tablet or whatnot is on your bed, searching through different comparisons. Bouclier, wrestling is still on, and those of you who failed, you suffer 1 level of fatigue.
Okay.
The Wendigo have fed on your essence. So,
The fuckers.
with that, waking up from the whim of the Wendigo, guys, that brings us to the end of issue number 3. So, each of you gets an advancement. For those listening at home, thank you so much for joining us for issue 3 of The Guard, our Savage Supers campaign. As is always the case, if there's any comments, questions, or concerns you have regarding the game, the campaign, or the particular session, please don't hesitate to leave a comment in the comment section down below, and I'll endeavor to reply in a timely fashion. There's also a link down below to the Dungeon Musings Discord server, where we have channels dedicated to Savage Worlds, to every other game we run on the channel, as well as a bunch of other great channels. Tons of great people over there with great conversation, great collective knowledge as well, too, and a willingness to help. So if you have questions about any of the games we run on the channel, or games in general, or if you're looking for people to play with, you can often find some terrific folks over there. There's also a link down below to our friends at Noble Knight Games. Noble Knight Games is the preeminent unionized retailer of hard-to-find and out-of-print RPGs in North America. Not only do they have a terrific selection of new role-playing games, board games, and card games, they also have an unmatched selection of hard-to-find and out-of-print RPGs. And if they do not have something in stock that you are looking for, you can often put it on a want list, and they will send you an email when it comes in stock. If you make a purchase of $10 or more through their website, be sure to enter the code SPRINGMUSER, all caps, all one word, and you will save yourself 10% on your purchase. That will change as of July 1st, 2023. So if you're listening to this video after that time, come back to one of our more recent videos, and we'll have our more recent discount code for you. There's also a link down below to something called Heroes Save Villages. That is the charity fundraising campaign that we run on the channel. It benefits the SOS Children's Villages International Charity, a really amazing organization active in over 130 countries, benefiting over 80,000 orphaned and abandoned children, including ongoing relief efforts in Ukraine and the surrounding countries. All donations that go through that link go directly to the children who benefit from or directly to SOS Children's Villages International to help the kids who benefit. None of it goes to us or any other middleman, just goes to help out the kids. And as a small way of saying thank you, if you've donated $10 or more since January 1st, 2023, head on over to the Dungeon Musing Discord server's Charity Initiatives channel and cast your vote for the next component of our year-long charity campaign. We will be playing a session set in 19th century China during the Boxer Rebellion. We have had 2 previous sessions that have been shaped by our donors, and then there will be one last set of voting to vote on what connections there will be from our previous sessions to this one. Right now, it is looking like it's going to be a Savage World session, and it is kind of leaning towards a something where they're playing members of the Big Sword Society, one of the kind of peasant organizations, martial arts organizations that kept folks safe from bandits, warlords, and tax collectors, but voting is still open, so we'll see how that plays out. We still have some other great options there. And we will be back. And then in addition to that, if you donate $25 or more, you get a chance to win the grand prize or one of the other great prizes in our next charity raffle. So you get a chance to win some cool gaming stuff. You get a chance to vote on the initiatives the charity campaign, our Year of Ill Omens 6-part campaign, and most importantly, you get a chance to help out some kids who could really use some help. Last thing I will say is a thank you to our stalwart heroes from today. So Robert, Will, and Jeffrey, thank you so much for playing today, guys. I am enjoying playing superheroes so much with this. This has been fun to transition and use some of the other rules in Savage Worlds to tell more of the superhero story. So we will be back in the Savage North in 2 weeks' time, but until then, we hope that we gave you a few hours to take your mind off the troubles of our world and think about the troubles that our superheroes are finding on the mean streets of Winnipeg and the cold streets of Churchill. Until we see you again, stay safe, stay healthy, and happy gaming.